Jerry Jones contract tactics. Micah Parsons versus Dak Prescott deals explained. In the unpredictable world of NFL negotiations, few figures are as captivating and polarizing as Jerry Jones, the larger-than-life owner of the Dallas Cowboys. Whether he's posing for cameras or cutting deals in the backrooms of league meetings, Jones has perfected the art of playing both hardball and softball, often at the same time. But here's where it gets controversial. While his antics might seem like a carefully choreographed act, they reveal a deeper tension between tradition and ambition. And this is the part most people miss. His approach to player contracts is less about strategy and more about legacy. So, what happens when the stakes involve one of the league's brightest defensive stars? Let's dive into the drama swirling around Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons. Jerry Jones, known for his bombastic personality and sharp business acumen, often finds himself negotiating not just with players but seemingly with himself. This peculiar style was on full display during Dak Prescott's blockbuster $240 million contract last year, which included an eye-popping $231 million guaranteed. It set a new benchmark for quarterback deals, but now the spotlight shifts to Parsons, the Cowboys' electrifying defensive end. With his current contract set to expire at the end of the season, Parsons understandably wants assurances, a hefty chunk of guaranteed money, that reflect his status as one of the game's premier talents. However, there's a twist. Unlike Prescott, who plays the pivotal role of quarterback, Parsons operates on the other side of the ball. And according to Jones, that distinction matters a lot. In fact, it seems to be shaping his entire philosophy on how much guaranteed money should go to non-quarterbacks. Contracts span 4 or 5 years, Jones recently explained, emphasizing the risks involved. A lot can happen over that time. Players get hurt, situations change. We've seen it before. He even cited Prescott's injury-shortened season due to a hamstring tear as a cautionary tale. Yet, critics quickly point out that Parsons missed only 4 games last year, a far cry from being labeled injury-prone. But wait, there's more to unpack here. Back in March, Jones claimed he had reached a tentative agreement with Parsons' camp regarding the framework of a new deal, including its length and guaranteed components. Fast forward to today, though, and neither Jerry nor his son Stephen, the team's executive vice president, have picked up the phone to finalize anything with Parsons' agent, David Mulligetta. Meanwhile, Parsons' peers across the league, like T.J. Watt, Max Crosby, and Myles Garrett, have already secured lucrative extensions packed with guaranteed dollars. These deals have effectively reset the market, making Jones' hesitation feel increasingly conspicuous. Why is Jones dragging his feet? Is it buyer's remorse over Prescott's massive payout? Or perhaps a desire to avoid ruffling feathers among fellow owners who view him as too generous with guarantees? Jones hinted at this internal conflict when he remarked, "Just because we sign someone doesn't mean we'll actually have them." While this statement rings true in theory, it feels oddly dismissive given Parsons' track record of dominance and durability. Some speculate that Jones' reluctance stems from a belief that Parsons isn't quite on the same level as Watt, Crosby, or Garrett. Others wonder if this is less about Parsons and more about Jones wanting to redefine his image within the league. After all, does he want to be remembered as the bold visionary chasing championships, or as a penny-pinching owner akin to Cincinnati's Mike Brown or Tennessee's Amy Adams Strunk? Ultimately, no matter how much noise Jones makes in public, history suggests he'll eventually cave and strike a deal similar to those signed by Parsons' counterparts. Until then, his theatrics serve another purpose: keeping the Cowboys in the headlines. For decades, Jones has thrived on attention, turning the franchise into a perpetual media sensation. Whether fans love him or loathe him, one thing is undeniable: he knows how to keep everyone talking. So, what do you think? Is Jones justified in holding the line on guaranteed money, or is he letting pride cloud his judgment? Should Parsons hold firm until he gets what he deserves, or would settling now be smarter in the long run? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The debate is just getting started. Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones contract drama. Timeline and inside quotes explained. Imagine the tension in a high-stakes negotiation where millions are on the line, and egos are just as big as the paychecks. That's the drama unfolding between Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones and their superstar edge rusher Micah Parsons over a new contract. It's a saga that's got fans on the edge of their seats, wondering if this talented duo can bridge the gap or if it'll end in heartbreak. But here's where it gets controversial. When personal jabs start flying, it raises questions about who's really calling the shots in the NFL's most talked-about franchise. Stick around as we dive into this timeline, packed with direct quotes and insights that reveal how things have soured, and I'll point out the moments most people overlook that could change how you see the whole mess. Let's set the stage. The Dallas Cowboys kicked off their 2025 training camp with more sparks off the field than on it, as Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons traded verbal shots in their initial comments. This isn't a new script for the Cowboys. It's become a yearly ritual with their star players, much like what happened with quarterback Dak Prescott and wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, who both endured drawn-out talks before finally inking deals just before the season started. Parsons is now in the spotlight, negotiating as he heads into the last year of his rookie contract in 2025. Recently, Parsons shared that his agent, David Mulugheta, has been trying to connect with the Cowboys front office to iron out details, but Dallas hasn't responded yet. To keep you up to speed on this ongoing standoff, we've put together a detailed timeline of statements from Parsons, Jones, and even Dak Prescott over the past 7 months. We'll break it down month by month, explaining the key points in simple terms so even if you're new to football contracts, you'll grasp how these deals work and why they're so tricky. Starting back in January, when the contract conversations first ignited. On January 5th, after the season wrapped up, Jerry Jones mentioned he'd chat with Parsons. He said something like, "I'll talk to Micah. I'll talk to him about it. As a matter of fact, I think he's called, and I think he's sitting with me at the Cotton Bowl. That's probably where we'll do some talking." This was Jones hinting at an informal meetup during a college football game, which shows how these discussions often start casually rather than in boardrooms. It's a way to build rapport, but it can also blur the lines between business and friendship. Then, on January 6th, Parsons previewed that upcoming chat, explaining, "It's all going to start just at the roots of obviously, where do you see us going? How can we become contenders? How do we bounce back from this year? What are the plans?" Those are the types of things that I would ask, and I hope he asks me things, too. Here, Parsons is focusing on the bigger picture, like team strategy and winning, which is common in these talks because players want assurance that the money is tied to a real shot at success. By January 14th, with changes looming, Parsons added, "Losing a great coach like Mike McCarthy hurts, but it's going to be a very interesting off-season. It's going to be very interesting. Due to free agents, coaching, it's going to be a complete reset. It's going to be a very interesting and challenging off-season, but listen, I already know I trust my owner. I trust my GM. I trust Vice President of Player Personnel, Will McClay. I trust that we are gonna make the right decisions." This reflects the uncertainty in the NFL, where coaching changes and free agency can shake things up, and Parsons is showing faith in the organization's decisions, which might be an attempt to keep things positive early on. Fast forward to February, and the talks were already hitting snags. On February 6th, Parsons was asked if he'd accept less pay to help the team trade for another star like Myles Garrett, and he enthusiastically replied, "Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Will he take less too? We would definitely have to make that happen. As long as he, Jerry Jones, let me be a little higher paid than him, Garrett. I'm younger. He, Garrett, want to be with us too. I do all right, off the field as a Cowboy. I do want to win. This is a fascinating glimpse into player loyalty and the idea of sacrificing earnings for team improvement. For beginners, think of it like agreeing to a smaller bonus at work if it means hiring a top colleague to boost the whole department. But it's not just talk. It highlights how players value winning over pure cash sometimes. The next day, on February 7th, Jones deflected a bit by boasting about spending, saying, "Well, we spent the most money of anybody in the NFL on a player last year. If we can do that again, that'd be pretty good. I think you ought to look at free agency, not so much the criticism we got last year, but look at in years past and how we've done it will probably be more in line." Jones is referencing past big spends, like on other stars, to defend his approach, but and this is the part most people miss, it could be a subtle way of avoiding the current issue by pointing to history. Then, on February 11th, teammate CeeDee Lamb chimed in after hearing rumors about trading Parsons, frustratedly noting, "Y'all aren't tired of this? Every off-season, top of the charts. Let's just win ball games and that's with 11. SMH. Lamb's reaction underscores how these contract dramas affect the whole team, creating distractions when everyone should be focusing on the field. By February 13th, Parsons tried to stay optimistic, stating, "There's been no progress. But I'm pretty confident something will happen. We'll see. I really have a lot of respect for Jerry. We have great conversations all the time. There's definitely a plan in place to see how everything plays out. He's maintaining a professional demeanor, but you can sense the patience wearing thin. By April, things were heating up with more direct exchanges. On April 1st, at the NFL's annual league meeting, Jones downplayed the role of agents, saying, "I know that I've spent 5-6 hours with Parsons myself and had a lot of discussions. Most of the issues are in agreement, and I've discussed it all. We obviously don't have an agreement relative to a new contract. Micah is under contract, so we'll see how that goes. It's not uncommon for me to visit directly with players, and in this particular case, that's what I'm doing." He went on to add, "An agent's not something you should be worrying about. You should be worrying about your ability to make it work, and you should be worried about what the player does. Does he have good enough health? Does he have good enough skill to do what you're paying him the money for? The agent is not a factor here, of something to worry about. And I don't know his name. And so my point is, I'm not trying to demean him in any way, but this isn't about an agent. The agent doesn't have one thing to do with what we are doing when we get on the football field against a team. Micah does. To the degree I'm involved, I do. The people that have something to do with what we do going forward relative to our fans and football are me and the player, not the agent. Frankly, most people that negotiate with me will tell you that it was better off than negotiating with anybody else, Stephen, Jones, or anybody involved. This is not uncommon. I negotiated directly as far back as Emmett, Smith, Dion, Sanders. We, by the way, have maintained relationships that have lasted well past their playing days. But here's where it gets controversial. Jones dismissing the agent's importance might rub people the wrong way, as agents are crucial for protecting players' interests, and it could be seen as an old-school power play. In response, on the same day, Parsons defended his agent, saying, "David is the best and I will not be doing any deal without it David Mulligeta involved. Like anyone with good sense, I hired experts for a reason. There is no one I trust more when it comes to negotiating contracts than David. There will be no backdoors in this contract negotiation." This back and forth shows a clash of philosophies. Jones prefers direct talks, while Parsons insists on professional representation, which is standard in the league. Moving to April 22nd, Jones indicated they were close on some terms, noting, "I know about the years, and I know about the guarantees. I know about those kinds of things, and really it's close enough to work on a number. I mean, I'm comfortable with it. I don't need to adjust." Guarantees, by the way, are a big deal in NFL contracts. They ensure players get paid even if they're injured or released, which is why negotiations can drag on. Stephen Jones, Jerry's son, an executive, added on the same day, "You look around the league at most of these players who are getting these very top contracts. It does take time ultimately to get there, and believe me, if we could sign Micah to a number we wanted to sign him to, we'd do it right now. But right now, there's a difference in what we feel is the right number, and what he feels like is the right number." This highlights the gap in valuation. Teams weigh injury risk and performance, while players look at market rates. Parsons, on April 23rd, delved into the challenges, saying, "It's challenging because you don't need to be there at a $40 million average per year salary, right? If this market is set at $35 million, then it kind of backfires because you see Max Crosby goes to $35.50, $36 million. Then you see guys that are older than you, and you can say your production and versatility matches what they're doing, and you say, why? I would say I'm more in my prime than a lot of these other guys who are more in the second half of their career. That's the challenging part, man, just getting fully honest about what's your worth. I don't really think it's about the dollar. I think it's all about how much someone thinks you're worth." To clarify for newcomers, the market refers to what other players at similar positions are earning, and Parsons is arguing that his youth and performance justify top dollar. He also stressed the importance of sealing a deal before camp on April 23rd, explaining, "It's extremely important. You really see a lot of players struggle,